welcome on back to the 4th and 30 podcast. Glad to have you here this week with us. Um, we're kind of in a lull in the sports world. Really, the big thing going on is NBA Finals. We got the Olympics coming up soon. But we do have the British Open this week. But we're going to talk about a few things and probably get kind of down in the weeds and just kind of ask around some questions there at the end. But as always, if you enjoy what you're seeing, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Share this content out with anybody you see. That helps us. It helps you, makes you feel accomplished, like you're doing something good for us. You're helping us out. You're part of the team. You're part of the 4th and 30 family. We love you so much. Go ahead and share that baby out. But we'll go ahead and get started. The lowest hanging fruit and things we can check off the box real quick is the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby. I think we can all agree that the All-Star Games uniforms were complete and total garbage, right?
So the white looked better than the blue, but it was still a 2 out of 10.
I think they were both terrible. Weaver texted me last night and said that the blue ones were awesome, and I was like, what? I was like, no, they're not. They're terrible.
No, they were not.
Yeah, they were bad. But the romance of baseball, Vlad Guerrero Jr. smacking that 469-foot dinger and then getting All-Star Game MVP, that's always cool to me. Like, when an athlete's son grows up and is also an athlete and does well, like, that's always cool because, they've had so much pressure on them their entire life growing up playing baseball. And, Vlad Guerrero, he was a great baseball player. So, he had a lot of pressure on him. And he's out there just completely doing it. And so it was good to see, Shohei Ohtani, obviously, pitching and then leading off. That's cool. Never been done before. Probably, unless he does it again, it'll never be done again. Like, stuff like that. It's just kind of neat as a baseball fan to see baseball turnover. So I know Acuna Jr. is hurt, but you've got Tatis Jr., Guerrero Jr., Ohtani, Acuna is thrown in there. Like, those are 4 faces of baseball that just happen to be playing at the same time. So it's really cool to see baseball kind of turning a new leaf because it's kind of been down since Pujols kind of went on that slump. You have Trout, but he plays on the West Coast when nobody can watch because everybody's in bed. And, like, the Angels aren't very good, so you don't get to see them in the playoffs very often, like once in his entire career. So, it doesn't help that he's on the Angels. Now that Ohtani's there, since he is the best baseball player over this season, like, ever, that's going to draw its own attention. But then that overshadows Mike Trout. So Mike Trout never really got to the same status that Pujols was in 2006 or, Pedro Martinez was in the late 90s, Randy Johnson. Like, you didn't have these names where like, oh my God, it's them. But now I think you're going to get that again with Ohtani, with Tatis Jr. and Guerrero. Like, that's good for Canada, good for Toronto to have somebody good up there that's not Joey Bats taking a Ronette door sock to the face. So, yeah, I just think it's really good for baseball. It was neat to see them all on the field at the same time interacting. Guerrero Jr. had to ask Ohtani's translator, and apparently he asked him like a 5-year-old, just like, can I meet Shohei? Like, oh. And I would do the same thing, obviously, but it's neat to see another baseball player doing that. So I just thought it was nice to see all the up-and-comers, but it wasn't really that compelling of a game. The AL did win it 5-2, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think that how baseball stats and how long ago they started is cool for baseball. I mean, you've got hundreds of years of stats to compare old players and new players. So when it comes to generational baseball, I love that about it. I love the history of baseball. I love how much history there is with baseball. But the baseball purists are the worst thing for baseball when it comes to don't swing at a 3-0 count, all the unwritten rules, stuff like that. That stuff isn't good for baseball in my opinion. And so these young guys coming in, they're energetic, they're breaking the norms of baseball. They're having a blast doing it. They're smiling, swinging at 3-0 counts. They're smiling, diving for loose ball or for sliding catches. They're electric. It's so good for the sport. Because if you're a baseball purist, you love the old school baseball. But if baseball is going to grow, they need Tatis Juniors. They need Vlad Guerreros. Watching those guys, the story that Freddie Freeman told about his son, did you guys hear that story? Back in May, his son told him he had to start playing better. And Freddie said, "Why do I need to start playing better?" And he said, "So you can go to the All-Star game so I can meet Fernando Tatis." That dead serious.
Yeah.
That's his story.
At the time, Freddie was batting like 220, and now
Yes.
he's all the way up to like 275.
Yeah, and so Freddie made it to the All-Star game, so he had to fulfill his promise to his kid. And there's the video of Charlie is Freddie's son's name, getting to meet Fernando, and he gets to go up and just give him a great big old hug. And then Fernando Tatis Jr. does a great job with him. He gives him a big old hug, talks to him. Like, that's what baseball needs. I feel like football and basketball both have those kind of personalities. And that's what baseball needs. And I just think baseball's in good hands right now with this young generation we got coming up.
I mean, all those guys are like that, but Fernando Tatis, man, him interacting with the fans is a great thing to watch. Like every game, you can see him interacting with fans, signing kids' jerseys, just having a good time with them, and you're right, that's just good for baseball. I mean, it brings more fans to the stands when
Doing the things his dad did.
yeah,
Yeah.
Learning from
Poor
those
Cody on the third base line. He's just trying to repay society by fulfilling the fans' dreams.
Yeah, I mean, we talk all the time about how much young talent there is in the NBA right now, but kind of quietly, there's a lot of young talent in the MLB, like the
lot.
people you talked about, and it's exciting because MLB goes in these lulls, and they were kind of going into a lull, especially with COVID season. But these young guys are kind of keeping it afloat, to speak, and get that universal DH in there, you'll make it a little more exciting, but. The All-Star game was pretty cool. The jersey sucked, but like you said, when you get all those Vlad Guerrero hitting that home run, that was just insane. I mean, if you're going to have everybody hit 240, you've got to have guys like this to make it exciting, to be honest. Because
Yeah, and
well, everybody hitting 240. You saw Rob Manfred's suggested rule changes today. Are I'm pretty sure we are, but are we pro every single one of those rule changes? So it was limiting or eliminating the defensive shift,
yes,
getting rid of
Yes.
7-inning double hitters, getting rid of the guy on second starting in the 10th, and universal DH. We pro that?
I am pro everything. I would be all right if they left the extra inning guy on second in the regular season. But in the playoffs, I remember a game from 2007 or 8 or whatever. The Braves and Astros went 17 innings. Nobody scored. You're not going to have those games anymore if you have a guy start at second base. It's just not going to go that long. And, I talked a lot about wanting to see more runs, but when you get a game that goes 17 innings, every inning of extra innings is jam-packed, intense, bullpen pitchers. I can live with that. Like, that's an intense, low scoring, but an intense, exciting, fun game to watch. If you put the guy at second, I don't know how that plays out. I mean, 2 wild pitches, the game's over,
So, I mean, I get what you're saying. It takes away that 17 game, but the only thing I would argue is it also, you're not going to use all your pitchers in one game. And
But that's the
we
beauty
screwed the
of
next
it.
one.
that's the beauty of baseball.
That's the beauty of it.
I'm
I
The
think the
strategy
runner at second base
involved-
makes the game a lot more exciting.
I'm
That's
almost
just me.
I'm almost exactly with Kyler. I like the rule. I like the second base guy, but when it comes to playoff baseball, I almost want to. My favorite thing of baseball is the strategy, is managing your pitching, managing your bullpen. When to be aggressive on the bases, and so it takes away from that, like Kai is saying, but it makes the regular season a whole lot more interesting. So really, I don't care either way. My big one is the defensive shift. They need to go. 2
Yes.
infielders on each side of second base.
Yes.
If you want to stand both of them on second base, like 1 foot touching, I'm okay with that. But they have to be. It has to be shortstop, third on one side, first base, second base on the other side. None
Yeah,
of this.
center fielder is the only person that can cheat, like either side. Yeah.
And
I'm-
so
The out.
that's the big one for me is the defensive shift. I could care less about the universal DH. I personally like having pitchers hit. I think it makes for the strategy of it when to pinch hit, when to not. If your pitcher's dealing, but it's still an 0-0 game and you got a runner on, it throws a lot of strategy into it. But having a DH is also good for baseball. It makes it more exciting. So
the shift. I was reading some stuff about it, and there were people complaining about it because they were talking about how if a team can only run the football, do you put 8 guys in the box? So what's the difference between shifting your
You
defense
can't
over-
compare baseball and football. They're two entirely different
If a
things.
guy can't shoot a
You
3, can you sag everyone into the lane?
I see.
I think eliminating the shift's a bit extreme. I think maybe you can put some rules in there to make it more difficult to shift your entire defense, but I think eliminating the shift, that's just catering to people who can't hit to the other side of the field. And I get it. It's not as easy said to done. I'm not saying I can go out there and hit the ball down the right field line every time, but also you're just saying, well, these guys can't do it because the pitchers are making them hit in the shift. To score more runs, let's just cater to this. And you're talking about how you want more strategy. You're taking strategy out of the game by doing that. You're saying, well, they can't shift.
I see the other side of it. Don't get me wrong. Your analogy to leaving somebody open in basketball to shoot if they can't shoot, that's part of the game to me. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I'm not saying the shift is some nasty, awful thing. I just don't like it. That's just my personal opinion.
you can't play zone defense in the NBA. Well, you can, but there's defensive 3 and a key for a reason.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like if you can do something to I don't know what that is. If you can do something to limit the shift, that's fine. But I don't
You
think
should have
to take the shift
you should
away
have
tomorrow.
to have on the infield 2 people on one side, 2 people on the other.
Yeah. Manny
None of this
Machado
bull
should
crap
not
putting
be
3
able to
people on one
stand in
side.
short right. Manny
I-
Machado, when they're playing the shift,
That
has
is not
never
a
played on
position.
that side of second base.
So I
It is
think
in
that-
Little League. It's called Rover, and it's the second base
That's your
shortstop.
fan, though.
That's Lions
I
Club.
think you should have to play in the infield. If you want to make that a rule, you can't play into the outfield. That's a fine rule with me. Like in slow pitch softball, your infielders can't play into the outfield, and that would help eliminate the shift a little bit because your guy plays into right field basically.
Yeah,
It's-
but in
that's-
slow pitch softball, you don't have 115 mile an hour rocket coming at you.
Carl, come closer.
In slow pitch softball, you don't have 115 mile an hour rocket coming at your face either. So
Yeah, that's part of it to me too. Is part of the rule could be you have to have at least both toes in the dirt. You have to have at least a part of your foot in the dirt. But then again, if I'm playing shortstop and Mike Trout comes up to bat, I'm backing up 10 feet into the grass. I ain't taking a Mike Trout one hopper to the dome. So
And even
Well,
if you say that 2 guys have to be on the left side and 2 guys have to be on the right side, just on the left side of the pitcher, because they can just sit basically right behind second base still.
Yeah, they could. But they can't have that guy out in right field
Yeah.
when Freddie Freeman comes up to bat. Listen, as a fan of the Braves, who are a hitting team, I am tired of seeing rockets being hit in the gap that are caught. All right. I just want everybody to go back to their regular position and play fair ball. That's it. Plus,
I mean,
I think it would be a good thing for MLB. You do make a good point, Kelsey, that strategy. But if it's better for the game overall, I think they should implement it.
yeah, but for 100 years, hitting a double to the gap has been a pretty damn exciting thing in baseball. Like you have a runner in scoring position, you hit something to the gap, and I realize they don't play the shift if somebody's standing on second, but like double to the gap.
They
is
do
always
now.
great.
They do
Well,
now.
not-
The Mets shift number 1 in the league at 56% of the time. Now,
But
how many
there's-
hitters are they actually shifting for? Probably about 56% of them.
There's different shifts though, like the Manny Machado shift where he's standing, 30 feet from the first baseman. is different than, shifting the second baseman around the side and the third baseman goes to shortstop. So they're both shifts, yes, but like you don't pull Manny Machado and put him in right field if you have a guy standing on second. They're a little different, but
And I think we can all agree that 2 7-inning doubleheaders are garbage because
Yeah, that's
A,
stupid.
you don't get credit for a no-hitter if you throw one, and B,
damn right.
games are meant to be 9 innings.
Yeah, I don't know who came up with the 2 7-inning doubleheader.
Oh, it was Rob
It's
Manfred, I'm
a
sure.
terrible idea.
Yeah.
It's
I don't care if it's a shortened season and you're trying to get games in or not. It's a terrible idea.
I don't agree with the guy standing on second at any point in a baseball game. So I can
No, that
see
guy-
your point if you want to speed him up, whatever. But it's dumb. So the Cardinals don't win in 2011 if you can start a guy on second. The Rangers win that. There's multiple. I'm just a Cardinals fan, so that one sticks out to me. But there's multiple examples of that.
It
Why
would
don't the
change
Cardinals
history
win?
entirely.
So it just doesn't make sense to do something. Why not start the first inning with a guy on second? What's the difference? What's the
But the
difference
difference
between
is you're
starting?
in extra innings.
No. So
You're playing
like,
extra innings at that point.
let's say you go up 3-0 in the first. That completely changes the outcome of the game because now you're playing from a different perspective every time you come up to bat. So
start
like,
every inning with the bases loaded.
Why not?
Hey, they would score more runs.
start every inning with 2 outs.
They
Different
would
but
score
same,
less
same.
runs.
Different but same. Lead
So
off
wait,
homers.
hold
If
on.
you're
Why
if
don't the
you're
Cardinals
gonna
win in 2011 if you start with a runner at second? Because they still have the opportunity to win. I'm confused where
No,
you're going
you don't
with that.
remember David Freese in Game 6? He hit a in the 9th he hit a triple to tie it up, or no, in the 9th he hit a home run to tie it up, and then the 12th he hit a homer to win it.
It just
Or
doesn't end the
either way.
same, but the Cardinals can still win.
No,
You
they
don't know
were
how.
playing in. No, because then it went to a Game 7. Texas would have won that game in the 11th inning had they had somebody on second base already, because they got somebody to second base.
But the game would have been completely different. Like in the 10th, someone could have scored. Like you never know how that game would have ended.
No, I'm just saying the Cardinals would have won it.
if they want to speed games up, then just don't have extra innings, have a home run derby like someone brought up later.
That's a great idea.
But no, we want to see somebody actually win the game.
Yeah.
You do win the game. You just have to.
You
lose
don't.
shots a little
You
different.
got gifted the game. You got one hit. That's not a run.
No,
Plus,
both teams have a guy at second.
Dansby Swanson starts the 10th inning on second, and he gets a run scored for his stats. Yeah. No.
All right, let's move on to.
You guys are being. Wait, hold on. Before this, you guys are being
Not
really
a true
old
run
heads.
scored.
You're being really old heads with this. You're against change just for the sake of being against change because it changes the game.
Extra innings should be the same.
All right, old heads. Let's move on to Team USA, who is currently struggling. They have lost, going back to 2019, last year because of COVID, they've lost 4 of their last 5, which is not something that we're accustomed to in our lives, considering, the United States is the basketball country. And there's no stretch of the imagination. We just are. We have the best basketball athletes. So what do you think is going on right now with Team USA?
Okay, I saw a stat that was mind-blowing to me. In exhibition games, not Olympic games, in exhibition games, it took Team USA 27 years to lose 2 exhibition games, and this team did it in 48 hours. For the first 27 years, it took 27 years since the start of using pros. I will say that. It took that long for them to lose 2 exhibition games, and they did it in 48 hours with this team. But it goes back to what I said. I called it in our group chat a while back. They're playing without bigs. Bam Adebayo is a great player, but he's 6'9".
Yeah, and the court's not as big, right?
Yes.
The international game is different. They do use bigs better in the international game than they do in the NBA. But I think there's a few more things than that too. I do agree with that. That's a point a lot of people brought up. One thing I think Carl sent a message in the group chat, and I resent the same message. How the game is reffed in the NBA, and Cody disagreed with this, I think.
No.
How the game is reffed in the NBA is ruining USA for international basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And because basically you drive to the hole, throw up a shot, get a foul, and you get free throws. And that's not how it's reffed in international basketball.
Oh no,
And
I
besides that,
1000% agree with you. I was
and
just
besides
saying
that,
that stat stood out
stat.
to me because you wouldn't think that. I was in agreement that fouls were through the roof now in the NBA. They were out of control, and they're the lowest they've ever been. But I agree that how it's officiated is what's wrong here.
And then the other thing is obviously there's better international talent than ever before. Not saying that this Team USA should have lost these games, but there is better international talent than ever before, and it's not close.
Nigeria they started 5 NBA players, and I think there was a 6th or a 7th on the bench, maybe. Which I guarantee Nigeria's never done before. That shows you how much the world is catching up. But
so
that's
the
what I
world
was
is
gonna
catching
say.
up, but Team USA has all the NBA players.
Yeah, the rosters like
they're all
the game they just lost to who they just lose to.
Australia.
They lost to
Australia. If you look at the rosters and you say those two teams are going to play a best of 7 series, there's nobody in here that wouldn't say it would be a sweep. Honestly, like everyone would say USA would sweep them. I don't. I think the biggest issue is the bigs and how the game's reffed. I really do.
Another one is they built the team to outscore people. And last night they outscored Argentina. Is that who they played?
Yeah.
They like outshot Argentina. That's how they're going to win. They don't have any defenders on that team. Draymond, but Draymond's only one player out of, and if Draymond even touches the floor in the Olympics.
Yeah, with that team, he's not even touching the floor.
You got Beal,
but
horrible
that's
defender.
kind of what Team USA needs. They need that grit and grind guy, the guy who doesn't care about scoring, who's going to pass it off to somebody. They need that guy. They need like Ben Simmons can't play for Team United States because he's Australian, but like that would be the perfect guy. A guy who's afraid to shoot. That's what Team USA needs. I'll give you the ball. I'll get that rebound. I will box this guy out, but I ain't putting it in that rim. You 4 can do that. He'd be perfect for that. They need one. They need like a 2009 Rondo.
We're gonna remember this moment in 4th and 30 podcast history because Cody and Carl are saying that Team USA needs Draymond Green and Ben Simmons.
I did not say Draymond Green. I said Ben Simmons. I said a grit and grind guy.
We brought up Draymond, and you said they need that guy.
Draymond Green can go to Fukushima and get radiation poisoning and stay there.
So I get the feeling that all these NBA players are just coming off the NBA season. How much does it actually mean to them to play for USA? Because if you're playing for Nigeria or you're playing for one of those countries, it probably means the world. And we're just talking about exhibition games right now. I think USA will figure it out. But are we just seeing Team USA kind of go through the motions, playing one-on-one ball? It's not really working out. And all these other teams are super hyped up to play for their team. These NBA players, they're more hyped up to play for the Blazers or win an NBA championship. So I think you're seeing some of that. I mean,
I saw a video of the 2012 team. I can't remember what it said. They were at a fast food gas station and they were all eating burgers and soda and drinking soda. And then after that, they were going and beating teams by 30. So I don't really think there's an excuse if your mind is.
Well, yeah, but they had all the superstars playing that year. This year, they don't have that.
So
there's people setting out.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that it's a motivation thing. I agree that I think Dame would rather represent the Blazers than USA. But what I was getting ready to say a little bit ago, we have no defenders on the team. Okay, Beal's not a defender. Durant's not a defender. Damian Lillard's not a defender. Like, so you're not going to guard anybody. You have to outscore them. And then the other thing is like, I think it's an excuse to say they're tired from the season, but a lot of them are just coming off a shortened, grueling season. And they've got to get things.
Break last year.
Yeah, but for Nigeria playing Team USA, That's the Super Bowl to them. Exhibition or not, that is the Super Bowl. For Joe Ingles and those guys from Australia, Joe Ingles probably doesn't get as hyped up for it, but you got to think Patty Mills, some of those other guys, if they can knock off Team USA, even in an exhibition, that's big-time stuff. I guarantee Durant and Beal and Lillard and those guys, Tatum, they don't care if they win the exhibition game, which is not a good mindset to have, but they don't care.
But Ingles does care. He cares that much more because then he can go back to the NBA and say, "We beat you guys."
Oh,
like
yeah.
the guys that play in the NBA here and then go play for their country, they want to win worse than anybody. They want to take it home.
The one person who I've seen the most articles about of like wanting to play in the Olympics as his lifelong dream is still playing in the finals, Devin Booker. There's been multiple articles, and he's on Team USA. He's just still playing basketball in the NBA. So, like, you know, he's got to want to. We'll get Chris Middleton when the NBA finals are over. He'll play some defense for you. So, like, you know, I'm not saying they'll help because they might be gassed, you know, depending on how long this series lasts, and we'll get into that in a minute. But, like, you know, there are a couple more guys coming, and, you know, obviously Greece is going to get Giannis back, so that makes Greece, you know, that much more scary to play.
Giannis.
Yes,
But-
if you don't quit saying his name wrong.
Well,
I
people have
do-
all been saying Travis Kelce's name wrong.
Yeah.
I'm
But,
mind boggled by that.
Wait, his name's Kels?
That's what he said on Barstool Sports.
How did it last so long?
He has a brother too that's in the NFL.
That's what she
Neither
said.
one of them.
So, oh shit, lost my train of thought. We were just talking about something with Team USA. Oh, one of the coolest stories that I've heard about this whole USA drama is the story of Kobe in 2008. Goes to Coach K, says, "Hey, I'm the old head on the team. I'm here to defend and shoot open jumpers. Just tell me, give me tape on everyone's best player. I'll lock them down. Let these young guns go do the thing." When Kobe was right in that, or maybe it was 2012, but regardless of when it was, he is still probably the alpha of that team. You know, probably the best player in the NBA. Most definitely mentally the alpha of all those guys. And he's taking a backseat saying, "I'm here to lock somebody's ass up, get you a few jump shots a game, let these young guns go out and do all the you know, running and scoring and stuff." I don't see anybody on this Team USA that has that mentality. You know Durant doesn't. You know Beal doesn't. Even though there's not many bigger Dame fans than me, Dame's not going to go to being a true point guard to win. Dame's going to do what Dame does. So that could be a big thing on what they're missing.
Nobody has.
Draymond will be that mental alpha to, you know, get in somebody's face, tell them to lock down on defense. Problem is, Draymond doesn't have the skill set that somebody like Kobe does to lead by example.
There was a report that Chris Paul was going to play, and then there's a report that he wasn't.
He's not.
That's who they need.
turned
They
it-
need the
turned it
MVP of the
down.
league, Chris Paul.
He turned it down.
You know, if Kawhi wasn't hurt, he would play. I mean, that would help. You know, he's the claw. I mean, for a reason.
I wouldn't hit the
Space
panic
Jam
button.
wasn't come out, LeBron would play, and he could be that old head on the team saying, "Hey, it's time to put up or shut up."
No, he wouldn't, because then he'd get flack for taking a back seat on a team. He can't do that.
You know
He's
who
not.
they...
He would be a leader.
He doesn't
wouldn't-
have that
he would-
luxury.
He wouldn't do it the way Kobe did, but he would be a leader that would get him focused.
You know who they could really benefit from? The greatest Olympian of all time, Carmelo Anthony. The best rebounder to ever play for Team USA. They've been beat on the boards every game. Melo.
Well-
They need an old head to take control of that team.
They need
Melo.
Vucevic. Oh, wait, he's not American.
Melo is the answer.
When Cody came on with a hoodie on, I knew he was going to bring up Melo. Yep, he had his hoodie on when he came on.
Am I wrong at this point in time?
You know, if
They
if
could use
went
Melo.
gold this
America
year-
needs to grow more 7-footers. That fixes the problem.
I hate to do this to you because you're going to hate when I say this, but if they
At
win
home,
gold this year, Durant will be the greatest Olympian of all time. He's the all-time leading scorer. He'll have 3 golds.
So
Michael Phelps has how many golds?
I'm
Sorry.
talking about basketball. Greatest
Yeah, you know.
Olympian basketball player.
Throwing it out.
Michael
Simone
Phelps
Biles.
probably could have been a good basketball player, but Okay, so here's one. I think this was in our group chat the other day. American big men.
Name
Bam
was just thinking
Adebayo
about
is
that.
Bam Adebayo is from Nigeria,
Boogie
but he
Cousins?
has dual citizen. Boogie Cousins was one of the only names I could come up with. AD's
What's-
hurt.
Anthony
What's
Davis,
Brian-
but he's hurt.
What's Brian Zuback doing nowadays?
I'm pretty sure he's Russian. I'm just gonna judge by the last name. But yeah, you got Boogie and AD. Joel
Both Kentucky
Embiid's
guys.
from Cameroon.
Wendell Carter.
Yeah, we're trying to think
Oh,
of good
Cat.
big guys.
Oh,
Carl
goodness.
Anthony Towns.
I can't
Yeah,
think of
Cat.
any.
That
I've already
Shaq.
thought I can't think of any.
You say Shaq?
yeah, Shaquille O'Neal.
He'd push some people around.
He could probably go out there and play a few minutes a game.
Yeah,
He couldn't make it up and down the court in time, but
Who's
when
that
he got
guy
down
that-
there,
Cody, a couple years ago when we went to Indiana, who's that guy that played for the Pacers?
Roy Hibbert.
No, well, Roy's one, but Turner.
Miles Turner. He's American. His name was
But
brought up.
he's not really a big man. He's like a
He's a stretch four, really.
yeah.
He'd be a big man,
But he's also one of
Yeah.
the best shot blockers in the league. So he's
Yeah,
a
I mean,
stretch
he's
four,
perfect.
but he's a
Team-
good rim protector.
For Team USA, he'd be a big man, I guess.
Yeah.
He's like a 6'9", 6'10", and he's pretty big.
But so back to the big guys, we got Bam, Draymond, and Kevin Love. Kevin Love is a good rebounder, but he's not a center. He's
He's
a
not a
stretch
banger.
four. He's a stretch four that rebounds well. Bam is a great in the paint player, but he's 6'9". He gets away with it in the NBA because the NBA is a little smaller, a little more athletic than international basketball. And then we've got Draymond, who is 6'7",
yeah, something
wildly
like that.
undersized. And that's our three bigs right there.
What about Christian Wood? Is he American?
I don't know. That would be a good one, though.
Miles Turner is 6'11". Dang, I thought he was shorter than that.
Valanciunas ain't American.
No.
Clint Capella's not. Vucevic. Rudy Gobert. I mean, they're not American.
Oh,
Yeah.
all the big guys. You know, I do know
Joel
a
Embiid,
6'9",
Nikola Jokic.
34-year-old that hasn't played competitive basketball in like 10 years.
Who also doesn't have your passport, so you probably couldn't
I
go
do have
in.
my passport.
Oh, Phoenix and Milwaukee. Phoenix and Milwaukee. They're
I
playing.
don't either.
They're playing Game 4 here soon to keep the mystery of when we record this alive. It's not like it's in like 2 hours
Soonish.
or anything. They're playing here soon. So this is the one thing. I don't have much, but I have this. Doesn't it seem like Milwaukee, whenever they go back to Milwaukee, they just blow the doors off of whoever they're playing in that first game, and then it goes back to being competitive? What the hell is going on there?
I mean, that's
I
not
mean,
uncommon.
they just whoop the brakes off of whoever comes into Milwaukee that first game, and then it goes back to normal.
It's not uncommon to see that throughout the history of the game. The thing about Milwaukee, I said a couple episodes ago, this might be a bad thing, them getting into the finals, giving them false hope that they could win, but you're seeing Milwaukee kind of grow up before your eyes. Like, Giannis is figuring out how to win these games. He had 40-some points last game.
2 games in a row.
And,
Yeah,
you know, they weren't ready.
41 and 10.
The last couple of years, they weren't ready. They're starting to get, they're looking more and more comfortable in these situations and figuring out how to win. And that, I think, has a lot, there's a lot to say about that. Like, you can tell when a team's not ready and when they're starting to figure it out. This team's starting to figure it out. And, they're going to keep this team together. Whether they win this series or not, they're competing, and they're competing at a high level. And they're proving that they can win with, this roster or maybe a few switch-ups here and there. But I really like what I'm seeing out of them. I mean, they play tough, playing good half-court basketball.
Obviously, this is kind of goes without saying, but tonight's the biggest game of the series. If it goes 3-1, it's over. Phoenix, Chris Paul is going to win one of the next 3 games by himself.
Yeah.
Is going
To
to
win
win
the
the
Milwaukee, it's a must win.
Must win. If it's tied up 2-2 going back to Phoenix, you never know. The way Giannis has played in these finals is just unbelievable. I am so sick of seeing the Giannis slander of him not being a skilled player because 6'11", 240 pounds of straight muscle. He's as jacked as anybody in the league. He handles the ball extremely well, if not as good as anybody over 6'9" in the NBA. He's a great passer, elite defender. Like, all those are skills. Being that athletic is a skill in its set. So what? He doesn't have a jump shot. He gets buckets and affects the game in so many different ways. He doesn't have to shoot. Okay, and so like I just get sick. He has played out of his mind. He's done everything the Bucks need to win this series. He's done it single-handedly so far. And so I'm excited to see Giannis playing this well on the biggest stage. I still wouldn't mind seeing CP3 get that ring. I'm becoming a Devin Booker fan. More and more I watch him play. But I wouldn't be upset at all if Giannis got this one just because of how well he has performed under some of the biggest pressure. You know, when they were sitting at the, what are they, 4 or 5 seed, whichever one? 3 seed?
Three seed.
You know, when they were sitting at the 3 seed, everyone was, oh, you shouldn't have signed that Supermax. You should have left and went to Golden State or left and went to Miami or wherever. And he's proving everyone wrong right now.
I don't know if he's proven everyone wrong. Well, he's proven everyone wrong because he can do it by himself, I guess. But the Bucks, the first 2 games looked like they were proving everyone right. But the game 3, they got together and demolished the Suns.
Wasn't game two pretty competitive?
Yeah, but he dropped 40. Everyone was like, he dropped 40 and 10, and they still lost. Anyways, yeah, Giannis has been amazing in the finals. And you're right on the fact that he's more skilled than people give him credit for. We've just gotten to the point in the league, kind of the argument we have: can a center win? Can you win a finals building around a center? And when I ask that question, or when we ask that question, I think more of, can you win a finals with a guy who plays not like Giannis, but who can't create a jump shot? That's more my thought of when we talk about that question. So in my opinion, if the Bucks were to win this year, that would be the closest you guys would get to being able to build around a center in today's league. I don't think Giannis is a center by any means, but he doesn't have that jump shot. He can't create his own jump shot like LeBron or guys like that. So in my opinion, if the Bucks were to win this year, that'd be the closest you'd get to building around a center to win a championship in today's game.
I got for the Phoenix Suns and their whoever's at the game in Game 5. Quit counting on the free throws is helping Giannis, so he knows when he needs to shoot. Just go dead silent and make him think about how much time he has left. It'll work. Trust me. If you're listening and you're from Phoenix and you're going,
but he's the type of guy who doesn't let that stuff bother him, though.
No, he said publicly it bothers him. He said,
did you see him airball a couple after that? What are you there doing?
Yeah, so he airballs it, but he still comes back the next time and still drives to the hoop just to get there again. Like, that's what I'm talking about. That free throw will bother him, but he's still going to try to slam it down your face the next possession. So,
he's
like,
resilient.
That's what I'm talking about, not bothering him. Like, he's still going to go do his thing. He's not going to let the fact that he can't shoot a free throw worth a damn distract him from going and trying to earn that foul and shove it in your face.
So shooting free throws is a lot like playing golf. If it's dead silent, you have all these thoughts running through your head. All these swing thoughts, free throw thoughts, whatever. If you're making a bunch of noise, that would only help me because I couldn't hear my own thoughts.
Is this the 3 putt for bogey podcast, or
it would be a 4 putt for bogey for me.
Oh, so there was the video going around of the lady holding up the stopwatch on her phone, the stopwatch app, as the Phoenix fans were counting. And they were at like 15 when it got to 8 seconds, which everyone knows, unless you go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Everyone counts fast. Everyone knows that. But they were counting so fast, they were almost doubled up how long it actually was. And it was hilarious because she's just sitting there looking at the camera and had the stopwatch up. And they were at like 15 or 16 when it got to 8 legitimate seconds.
That's like little kids counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yep.
All right. So also this week, since Kyler wants to talk about golf, here you go. British Open is this week. I'm not calling it the Open. I've called it the British Open my whole life, so I'm not falling for that. I do have a couple picks. I don't have any odds for you. I just who I legitimately believe is going to win. And the guy I legitimately believe is going to win is Jordan Spieth. So you give me the way that he putts over there any day of the week. I believe in his competition, or his competitive spirit, not his competition, because that means he won't win. But I believe Spieth has what it takes to win, another British Open. And then
Eighth best odds at 20-1.
So for my 2 and 3, I have John Rahm. John Rahm is still playing incredible golf, so you have to throw him in a 3. And then kind of my sleeper, don't know where he is in odds, but Colin Morikawa. So he has never played over there in the British Isles, but he had also never played in the PGA Championship when he won that one. So, I think his game will translate well over there. So those are my 3 guys to watch out for, but I look for Spieth to win this one.
He's tied for like the 18th best odds at 40-1.
Good money.
Put $100 on it.
Xander Schauffele is the highest ranked player in the world without a major championship under his belt. I'm going with Xander Schauffele again. He finishes top 10 almost every time. He's going to win one. Hopefully it's this time because I'm putting money on him. But he did just get married, so that kind of dissuades me from betting on him. But I'm going with Xander Schauffele.
My number 1 pick, as always, Bryson. He's gonna get one sometime, but the Open is not for Bryson's game. So, I'm gonna go. I wanted to go Schauffele, but then Kai mentioned him right there. I guess I'm gonna stick with Schauffele because
Take Phil Mickelson. The dude was wearing shorts today, just showing everybody over there.
Oh, the golf purists were so mad today. He was wearing shorts. No, his shirt was untucked, and there was one other thing.
But then he gets to tell all those golf. He gets to tell all those golf purists that he's drank a $40,000 bottle of wine out of the claret jug. So who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll put my money on Rory McIlroy, 16-1. It's gonna pay off eventually.
Cody, can you pick someone other than Bryson DeChambeau?
Nope.
Brooksy.
I mean, he has the best odds at 14-1.
Brooksy's got a chance.
Yeah, I'm gonna start betting on Brooks Koepka just to be your rival.
I mean, Brooks is always a favorite to win any major he's playing in.
Bryson's second odds right now, 14-1. Brooks is 16-1. So tied for 4th.
Wonder how much money Vegas has made on Bryson. It's got to be considerable. You ever wonder that, like, how much money Vegas has made on particular people? Like, somebody missing a shot, somebody missing a field goal somewhere. Like, how much money Vegas has made on people? Got to be weird.
So, Jared Walsh's catch last night in left field. You guys all see that? The sliding catch. Chris Bryant hit that line drive. Also, the first time Jared Walsh has ever played left field, being a first baseman, he made that catch, and that kept the over-under under the line. And so it was beneficial for all the under-bettors, but cost all the over-bettors, which was,
push.
I think the over was more favorable is what I was understanding from what I was reading and listening.
No, the under was worse odds. It's the All-Star games went under 11 out of the last 13 games. Now 12 out of 14.
But that catch saved all the under bettors and screwed all the over bettors on a guy who's never played that position before.
That's sus.
Vegas had a hand in it.
Yep.
That's sus. They had like a remote control in that ball and kept it in the air just a little bit longer.
Tell me about it. Magnets. Magnets in the baseballs, dude.
Aliens.
All
right, you guys got any more? That's all I had for you.
I just have the 2 controversial topics that have been in the news the last 2 weeks. Not really controversial, but the 2 topics have been the biggest. Stephen A. Smith and then
Oh,
marijuana. Should it be allowed in the Olympics or should it not be allowed in the Olympics?
so I agree. Stephen A. Smith should not be allowed in the Olympics.
Oh, those are two things.
I don't know that he qualified for anything.
Carl,
Marijuana is a
stay
memory
off
loss drug.
the
How much weed have you
weed.
smoked?
Stay off
All right,
the weed.
appreciate it, guys.
Um,
No, Stephen A. is dead wrong about Shohei Ohtani. You can be the face of baseball and have a translator. Like that was just one of the most asinine things you could say. And weed is not a performance enhancing drug if you're sprinting 100 meters. If anything, it's hurting you. And so if you're still the fastest person in the United States running 100 meters while smoking weed, do your thing, man. Like, who cares?
The
Weed's all
only
the way
thing,
out. It's gonna be
the only
federally
thing,
legal.
the only thing weed can be a performance enhancer is for golf because it might help your swing thoughts. But
Nah, it probably helped Joey Chestnut.
that's true at giving the munchies.
a good case of the
Um,
munchies would help you gobble down some glizzies real fast.
I'm not disagreeing that it should be legal, but the problem is it was a rule. She knew about it. Just be smart about it. And the Olympics is in Japan this year. In Japan, it's still an illegal drug. You'll go to jail for smoking weed in Japan. Like, it's not allowed in the Olympics. It's not allowed in Japan.
Then how does anybody from Jamaica qualify for the Olympics?
Oh,
I went to Jamaica and got offered weed in about 3 minutes down there.
or the Netherlands, Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm gonna go back to
Australia?
talking about Stephen A. And that Stephen A. is dead wrong on what he said. I saw a list today of players, faces of baseball, basketball, football that used translators that were big name people. A lot of the Spanish speaking players that we've had over the years in baseball have used translators. I think Stephen A. kind of just pointed it out. Maybe I don't want to say anything about Stephen A. because I like Stephen A. That's not true, but probably because Shohei is Asian would be the whole translator thing. But I also think that people are maybe being a little soft about what Stephen A. said. Wrong. He's wrong, but just because you're wrong doesn't mean you're an asshole.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Stephen A's on the air every day for hours a day, and this is one of the first times he said something that maybe, people have taken offense to it, but this has blown up. When you're on air every day, he was wrong, and he said the wrong thing, and he came out and apologized and admitted he was wrong. I don't have anything against Stephen A for that. Yes, Ohtani can be the face of baseball. He is the face of baseball right now. But in defense of Stephen A, he's on the air every day. He said one wrong. That was his opinion. He was wrong, and he admitted he was wrong.
His opinion may be wrong, but I don't even know if it was really anything that, like,
Yeah, I don't think
he didn't even say anything that
No,
bad.
people-
All he said, he didn't say
Stop
that
being so
Ohtani
sensitive.
needed to learn English. He never said that once. He just said in his opinion, it would benefit baseball if their best player spoke English. That's literally all he said.
He didn't even say anything about what you just said with Ohtani not speaking English, or about he didn't even bring his race into it, did he? Or his ethnicity.
He just said it would be better if
he just said
didn't
he
have
has a translator.
Yeah. So I mean, he didn't even mention what ethnicity he was. He just said he doesn't. So it's more so whether you need a translator or not. But everyone was bringing Ohtani being Japanese into it, and that's not at all what Stephen A. meant by it. It had nothing to do with what ethnicity he was. It was that he had a translator.
And that's why I was bringing up both subjects, because I feel like people have too much time on their hands and they just want to get mad about everything. I'm just being honest.
Welcome to the age of the internet.
Last week, the big deal was, weed should be legal. The fact is, the Olympics are its own entity. They can decide what the rules are. Like they have a board to decide what the rules are. If they want weed to be illegal in the Olympics, that's how it's going to be. It's not a government. It's not saying nobody can smoke weed, but if weed's outlawed in the Olympics, then you can't smoke it for that, or you can't test positive for that 48-hour span. And Ohtani, he didn't even say anything bad. People are just very woke about these two subjects for a week at a time.
All right. So
stay woke.
Woke.
Yeah, we'll stay woke until we see you guys next time. We're not going to sleep even one single second. Yeah, we will. I'm just joking. Didn't mean to yell.
No, you won't, because you have a newborn.
I still get some.
You still
Some
rock
shut
out
eye.
on some sleep. Hell yeah.
No,
I
Couple
but,
hours here
sleeps a
and
lot
there.
too.
stay alert. Keep your head on a swivel out there. Don't get too down in the weeds on stuff. Don't let stuff get you down. Who cares what Stephen A. says? Move on with your day. It's fine. Like, he didn't call that guy out. It's fine. Who cares? Move on. Find something else to talk about. Let's talk about Fernando Tatis Jr. Let's talk about Shohei
Love the
Ohtani.
dude.
That way.
Love
Best baseball
Ohtani,
player
too.
in America
Let's
right
talk about how
Wait,
Fernando
hold on.
Tatis passed up signing an autograph for a little bitty kid so he could go have the hot chick wearing the crop top sign it last night. That was awesome.
Get
I
better,
do wanna
Ronald.
I do want to say one thing. Salvador Perez hit 28 homers in the Derby, and no one talked about it because he played against the only guy that hit more than 28 in the first round. He had a heck of a first round. I
The
just want
polar
to say
bear.
that.
On his
Salvador,
first
great.
on his first 6 swings of the home run derby, they were grounders to shortstop, and I was in the midst of texting you guys in the group chat. Why is Salvador Perez in the home run derby?
And then he had 28
And then he
homers.
just starts bombing them to right field.
Home runs ever in the home run derby in a single one.
I don't
It
know,
is-
but he had most of the catcher.
It's
It is not
different
somebody
now.
who won. It is
It's
not
different.
somebody who won. It's Vlad Guerrero last year. He had 91.
It's
Jeez.
different now. You don't
Oh,
get
yeah.
10 outs. You get 3 minutes plus bonus time.
91 is impressive.
Yeah.
To lose it even is impressive. But
You'd be wore out.
And then also the
Yeah.
other thing, I know we're going way over here, but
one more.
Pete Alonso's BP
That
pitcher.
guy's a goat.
I've seen shotgun with bigger spreads from 10 feet than that pitcher had. I mean, he was throwing it right here all night long. I mean, it seriously was 6 to 8 inches left to right, top to bottom, all night long. Think how many
I don't think. Yeah.
Kai gave
Just
me
move on with your week, guys. Just move on with your week. Find something else to talk about. It's okay.
that'll all get cut out. But actually Kai's face won't. Kai went But anywho, he threw absolute bullets all night long to him. That has to have some part of it.
It does have to have some part of it. But unfortunately, we may never know how big a part. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said at the beginning, like, subscribe, share. Subscribing still free. Liking also free. Sharing free. So go ahead and do all 3 of those things for us. We appreciate y'all. Be a little southern on you. Be good out there. Tell your grandma 4th and 30 sent you.